All right, so this is our review of the KMB 60 from KAYO, but before we review this bike, I just want to talk about KAYO for a second. And tell you guys how we feel about KAYO. We have 3 different bikes here. The KMB 60 and the TT 140 were both bought brand new. This bike is a K4 and it was bought used. This is our friend Dominic's bike, this is my bike, and this is Levi's bike. The one issue that all 3 bikes have shared is carburetors. Every single one of them has needed to be tuned out of the box. The dealerships didn't do it, KAYO didn't do it. They've all ran terribly from new. Or I don't even want to say new because we can't say that about that bike, but both these bikes ran like crap brand new. That one still runs like crap. I assume the person that bought it didn't ever tune it. Another thing, we did have a fastener fall off of Levi's bike. So you may want to check and make sure that everything's tight. But other than that, these bikes have been great. They all have varying hours, varying times on them, and we really haven't had any major issues besides the carburetor on all 3. So let's go ahead and focus on the KMB 60. Like I said, this is Levi's motorcycle. This is his first motorcycle. We looked at some on Amazon that were $400, $500. The problem I had with that, we couldn't go and put him on the bike and see, is it too tall, is it too short, is it perfect, whatever. This one we could. We went to our local dealership here in town, Cochise Motorsports. They had all of these on the floor. He was able to get on this bike. He fit perfect, and so we purchased it. And so let's talk about price. I figure this is probably something that most people want to know, the price difference between a KAYO and a Honda, a Suzuki, Yamaha, Kawasaki. So the price on this bike, the floor price was $999. That's before anything else. So they added freight, assembly, and prep, which was $395, bringing the total of the bike to $1,394. Then we go down, and they added title fee of $4, registration $8, postage of $4, HOV of $25, dock fees of $128. And then we have sales tax of $112, which brought the total of the bike to $1,675.21. We put $475 down on the motorcycle, and that brought our total to $1,221. They had a Honda there, same size. It was a 50, not a 60, and it was $2,000 right off the gate, plus all their other fees that they put on here. So it would have been $1,000 more than this motorcycle. I believe a Yamaha, which they didn't have, I think those are about $1,700, so add $700 to this price, so on and so forth. So I really think for $1,700, that's what we're gonna call this bike, versus $2,700 for the other ones, up to $3,000, really, I think this bike is a good deal. I'm not a dirt biker. I had a dirt bike in high school, and that's about the extent of my knowledge. I knew how to brake it really good. So learning is something we're doing. The reason I say that is I'm the average guy. I'm just somebody trying to get my son to ride a motorcycle. I'm not a motocross guy or anything like that. So that's the cost of this thing. All right, so now we're gonna go over problems that we've had with the bike, and I guess we'll get into my dislikes as well. So we've had a couple of issues. Number one being the carburetor. It's up in here, it's a little bit hard to get to, but when we first got the bike, it was almost impossible to start this thing. You had to sit here and fiddle with the choke, move it back and forth and like fiddle with it. There wasn't like a sweet spot. Oh, put it there and it'll fire up. No, you're fiddling with that. You're fiddling with the throttle, trying to get the stupid thing to start. And then once it started and warmed up, then you could turn the choke off and it would idle. So I took it back to the dealership, and they did a carb tune-up on it, and they put in a spark plug, and it was better, but it still wasn't perfect. It started a little better and this and that, but what pissed me off, one day Levi's getting ready to get on it, and I had to go to the bathroom or get a drink or something. I run in the house, And when I come back out, the bike's out in the yard and Levi's out there getting on it. He doesn't have his helmet on or anything. And so I'm thinking he's trying to take off without his helmet. I'm like, Levi, what are you doing? And he's like, it just took off. And so obviously they had it tuned a little messed up, and with the choke on, it just took off all by itself. So I watched a few videos and I tuned it up, and the bike starts pretty decent now. I know where to put the choke. It's about a quarter of the way, and the bike fires up, and then I just hold the throttle. I hold this thing wide open until it warms up, and then I throw the choke off, and it runs just fine. So that's the main issue that we had with the bike. We also had the bolt down here, the nut that holds the kickstand on. It fell off. I haven't even put it back on yet. It hasn't been an issue. When I bought the bike, they said to check the spokes after a couple rides and check a couple bolts. I haven't done any of that. I think it's fine. I haven't had any of those issues. So things I don't like. Number one thing I don't like is this brake. It's got rear brake here, front brake here. Now, the problem with this setup, this is one piece. It goes all the way down to the caliper. If you break this handle, you're replacing the whole thing. It's not like you can go get a $5, $10 handle. You're spending $60 on the entire braking system for the front or the back. So that's pretty annoying. Now, the other thing that is weird, there's no foot brake. So the bike doesn't have a foot brake. It actually has the rear brake right here. And I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's kind of counterintuitive because you're teaching them to brake up here and then later we're going to brake down there. But then at the same time, like I was telling Carissa, when you get onto a bigger bike, you got to clutch. So it's kind of teaching them, hey, you got to use this one too. You know what I mean? So I don't exactly know how I feel about that. That's kind of a mixed bag for me. The thing I don't like is you have to buy the whole braking system, which is pretty crap. One other thing I don't like, I'm going to have Carissa pause the camera and I'm going to show you guys. So this is Levi's user manual. And there's no way to know what it's for. It doesn't say anything. So they put this sticky on here, KMB 60, KO, owner's manual. We get in here. There's all the bogus that you have, weight guidelines, blah, blah, blah. But here's the part that annoys me. You see that? Not all these numbers line up with things that are on the motorcycle. Some of them are wrong. You know, it talks about the, if we look over here, front brake, on here somewhere is the rear brake pedal. Number 7. That's wrong. He doesn't have a rear brake pedal. His is up top. And if you look on this side, it shows no brake there. And this says full throttle racing. Don't know who that is, but these obviously aren't really for the KO. They're just kind of a generic manual. I was disappointed because I didn't think that there was a torque table in here. Let me find it. But there actually is a torque table, so that made me feel a little bit better. That's a maintenance schedule, actually, what I just showed you. Seat height, specifications. But this is for all of their pit bikes, and that's kind of annoying to me. Like,
very generic.
Yeah, it's super generic. It's not specific to the bike. I wish it was a little more specific. Other than that, I don't really have any complaints about the bike. It's been really good, right? Is there anything else? Okay. Well, let's move on to things that I like about the motorcycle, because there's quite a few. First off, the price. I don't think you can beat it for the price. You're not getting something off. Well, let me back up. You can't beat it for the price if you're getting it locally from a dealership, because now you have a support system, you have a parts department, you have all that. If you're ordering this online, I don't even know if you can do that. Maybe it's here and there. Maybe you'd be better off getting a name brand bike, because to me, the support system is a big deal. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about motorcycles. I don't know a whole lot about dirt bikes. So being able to go down to the dealership and say, hey, Levi tore this grip. I need a grip. How do I get a grip? And they say, oh yeah, give us $11. It'll be here in a couple weeks. Sounds good to me. That's awesome. So things that I like the price, especially because I was able to get these locally from the dealership. I like the fact that it's electric start. Fires right up, you know. Oh, actually, there is one thing. Come here, I want to show you guys that we had a problem with on Levi's motorcycle. I forgot about this. You can see this wire got pinched. It was down in here on his steering stop, and so he was hitting it the first couple days, so we had to move it out here. We could tuck it back in there, but you can see it getting down, trying to get down in there again. So that's one thing you definitely need to work out or watch out for. Maybe zip tie these up over here or something. So that was a little bit of an issue. But anyways, back to things I like. I like the electric start. I like the fact that it has disc brakes, front and rear. I think that's really neat for a little bike. It's not super heavy. It's easily maneuverable. It seems perfectly fine so far. Levi's probably approaching, I would say 20 hours on this bike. And we've had no issues. It's never like died and not started. Obviously the motor's fine. We tightened the chain once, I assume to be expected being a brand new bike. We had that bolt fall off. We had the carburetor issue. But other than that, no issues at all. The bike's been great. There's no damage to it besides the grip. He has dropped it a couple times. The plastics seem to be faring pretty good. No bent rims, not that he's jumping it like a mad person or anything like that. But yeah, for the price, for what you're getting, I think you're getting currently, right now, how long we're into the ownership, I think you're getting just as good of a bike as you would get from Honda or Suzuki or Yamaha or Kawasaki. So that's our review of the KAYO KMB 60. Like I said, this is our short-term review. In about a year, we'll do another review on it. We'll let you know how it's faring. If something comes up in between then and now, we'll let you know. But if you guys stick around, watch the channel. You'll see Levi ripping this thing. You'll see me ripping that. Hopefully we'll step up to a bigger bike within a year. And Levi will probably be looking at a bigger bike, and then we'll get Raylan on this. So yeah, it's really good. And honestly, if you wanted to get this to like put around at the drift event or, you know, the drag strip, this is a pretty fun little bike. You can get on here. It's not too small. It's not too big, but it's not too small either. So anyways, KMB 60, we give it a thumbs up here. Good review. And we'll see you guys next time.